Alrighty, you folks should be able to hear us talking now. We've transitioned out of the music. That was a new little experiment. I'm joined, as always, by Tim. Tim is not in his usual location. If folks can give us a thumbs up, thumbs down on audio settings, because I know we've been messing with them a little bit. But we're ready to dive into things.
Test, test, test. Can you hear me? Can you hear Jonah?
I can hear you. We've got the captions rolling, and we're going to see if chat has anything to say. How are you doing, Tim? What have you been up to while we wait for people to respond to that?
I drove from Portland to Las Vegas to go to MagicCon, and it was pretty glorious, but man, is that a long drive.
How long of a drive is that?
You know how Google tells you your drive time, as a theoretical thing, assuming you're going to drive straight through. Depending on which way you go, it's between 17 and 21 hours.
Okay, yeah, that's a while.
That's a that's a drive. Yeah. No, Jonah, you've got like the lucky coast where you're close enough to everything on that seaboard.
I mean, I did drive down to Atlanta the other day, and that was about 17 or 18 hours.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know why you did that. Actually, I do know why you did that, but cool. So let's check in on the chat. People say they can hear us. Uh,
I'm quieter than
hey,
you. We knew that.
and somebody said we have enough viewers for bots to show up.
Yeah.
That's exciting. We have our own bots now.
We
But
got
for
rid of
this,
that one, but
shouldn't it
yeah.
shouldn't it be droids though, really?
Uh, yes, but well, I think bots are different from droids because droids have arguable sentience and intelligence, whereas bots are unguided.
So, okay, I know this is completely a field, but I'm going to ask you anyway because I do these things. So, like the little mouse droids and things like that,
Yeah.
do they have sentience? I mean, they certainly seem to have a sense of humor and a sense of self-preservation.
Uh, a lot of them do, yes. A lot of them do have sentience. It's just, um, it's the sentience of, for example, a mouse, right? Like it has its rudimentary intelligence, and so it has a decision making system.
So, does that mean every time somebody talks about wiping a droid, they're contemplating destroying a sentient being?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's a problem. Uh,
Okay, yet
in
another
fact,
reason not to like the Empire.
there's L337, who's a good friend of Lando in the Solo movie, and I think they started a droid revolution in that, but I know they certainly did in the books. There was a droid revolution on Kessel. Um,
Cool.
but
Okay, so
what are we talking about?
what are we going to talk about today with the nice people?
Yeah, well, the big news that
Wait,
everybody's
all
excited about.
hail the Empire? All hail the Empire? Ugh, Barry Iverson. I don't know, buddy. I'm pretty sure we're on the side of the rebellion slash New Republic, right?
Especially given how scrappy we are. I mean, yeah, ignore
Yeah.
like this isn't our normal aesthetic. Tim in a car is our normal aesthetic.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay. So
so, big news that's coming out of the past couple of days is we now know who's staffing Galactics. That's going to be Fanfinity for the judge side of things, and then Merchants Guild is going to be handling non-judge side of things. I don't have explicit details. I haven't spoken to them directly, but I presume that if you were there last year, those would be the folks running demos, running like line management, helping out at panels, um, making sure that like the vendors are taken care of. If there are, for example, I don't know if we have any, and I don't think we will because we're competing with San Diego Comic Con the same weekend. But if there were celebrities doing interviews or signings, they would be helping manage and take care of those people. Um, but
but you don't want to do that. You want to come join me at San Diego Comic Con because it's going to be a party. And more to the point, boo on Galactics being the same day as Comic Con.
yeah, Buon Comic Con being the same day as Galactics.
I wonder who picked it first. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure out a way to sneak out of Comic Con, and where at this point it looks like I'm running events for 7 different publishers. But maybe that changes.
Well, that's fun.
And but I'm hoping I'm sneaking out and gonna fly to Vegas for a day. But we'll see what happens.
I mean, you
Fingers
could just
crossed.
do that drive. It's not that long.
Actually, you're right. Actually, San Diego to Vegas is not that bad. But we'll see.
Yes. So let's. I think today we don't have any major announcements. So if anybody has questions, we're more than ready to go on tangents. However, I think we have a lot of updates on soon, from kind of soon to much more imminent.
Oh wait, I got to reply to Dizzy got no jams. So if you really are interested in going to Comic Con, not just teasing about it, and you want to, if you want to work, just send me a quick email. Send me an email, and I'll get you plugged into to our application process. And of course, that way you don't have to buy a Comic Con badge because those things are spendy. And I have been assured that everybody at Fantasy Flight understands that it is not optimal to have these two things on the same weekend, and that everybody's optimistic about changing dates. What actually happens, we'll see. But they but it's not like they don't understand that this is a challenge from, well, not just for my personal enjoyment because I've gone like 30 years straight to Comic Con, but also it's if the purpose of Galactics is to one engage players, well, it's doing that fine. But if it's two, to reach out to the rest of the industry and have people understand how amazing Star Wars Unlimited is, probably a weekend where the entire industry is distracted by Comic Con, and then the next weekend is Gen Con, which is also a huge distraction. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, if you want to do a cool, totally not Star Wars related project and you're in the Gen Con area, shoot me an email. I've got a really cool project for somebody I need 3 people who are wildly extroverted to help me out.
Wildly extroverted.
And that is not you, Jonah, just to be
It is
clear.
not me.
You are not a wild extrovert. And
Uh,
it's going to be a freaking party. It's going to be for somebody who is an extrovert, they're going to have so much fun.
Yes, absolutely. Mayonnaise4242 asks, do we have any CEG update aside from internal review? No additional updates other than what we have, which is follow the clarifications. Having seen versions of the CEG, I think there's like 1 or 2 notes that are not in the clarifications, and they mostly have to do with how you handle multi-day limited events, which is not something you're going to need to worry about.
Jonah, anytime you use initials, you should explain what you're talking about.
Yes, the comprehensive event guide, which includes all of our policy documents, both the tournament regulations, competitive policy guide, and relaxed policy guide. And Rich Sunsdown, it is something else related. Gen Con stuff. But which coming soon do we want to talk about first?
Whatever you want. I accidentally hit the wrong button. Got to get back into the chat. So while I'm doing that, you know what? Hey, how about this? Because I have to be very careful about how I say it. Um, we believe that we are very close. And by very close, you know how I do the thing with time being this and this, so I don't have to quantify it. I think we're about that far. Up till now, when people ask me about judge shirts, I've been like, woohoo, way out, right? Way out. I think judge shirts are coming very soon. I can't quantify exactly because approvals, blah blah blah, but I believe it is close.
The things that we needed in order to do judge shirts are now at the stage where we're talking about approvals rather than talking about developing the things that we need, which brings us a lot
Jonah, that
closer
was
to
a
reality.
fabulous way to put it. was great.
Um,
That,
so, in relation to judge shirts, the same thing that one of the things that has been holding up name tags and many other similar things is it that same area. And so our offerings should be expanding sooner than soon, TM.
I think shirts are faster for us. By the
Yes.
way, am I okay? Oh, you know what? My battery is dying. I'm gonna have to turn on the car to charge. But so I apologize if there's. Hopefully there won't be any noise. But um, the yeah, I expected to be back in Portland a couple hours earlier, and I'm on the outskirts of town, so obviously I'm in the back of the car. We might delay shirts by a short period of time in order to be able to fulfill shirts and name tags at the same time. Jonah and I haven't actually talked about how we're going to do this yet because because there wasn't a lot of point in talking about the logistics until we thought the approvals were coming soon.
And
But
we got
I
that information pretty much over the weekend, so we haven't had too much time to talk about it.
Yes, and we were at an event this weekend because Jonah was there too. Only he had the good sense to fly, which is why he doesn't have crazy looking bags under his eyes the way I do. But I'm a driving fool. Um, and I want to do it again because there's a spot just outside of Bend, Oregon, where they have a llama farm where you can come pet hundreds of baby llamas,
That's pretty
and
good.
you got to do that. Yeah. So name tags, badges, soon probably takes more time to get name tags than badges. Oh, I'm sorry, then shirt name tags will take more time than shirts, excuse me. And so maybe we'll send them out separately. Maybe we'll put them together as a bundle. I'd rather it was a bundle, but I'm also really tired of waiting. So we'll see what
I
happens.
think a lot of people are very tired about waiting. But
Really?
I'm so
But
excited
Jonah,
to be
we
able to
haven't
send
heard that
people a
feedback.
link instead of saying we'll let you know when we have more information. But we'll let you know when we have more information. But that information should be sooner rather than later. Um, we ha-
Yes.
we're talking about more concrete timelines, not I don't know sometime. Um,
And the other thing is, and why there's a difference between the two is just from a manufacturing point of view. I can go order a ton of shirts and then have them customized. Name tags, well, kind of obviously need to have your name on it, and so there's just more. There's a little bit more logistics to getting those made and figuring it all out. So, but I think everybody needs a name tag. Everybody wants one, needs one.
yeah, I I've met so many people over the past year and a half, 2 years, and I remember a lot of the people, but I can't wait until we have name tags so I could get everybody's name right rather than be like, "Hey, it's good to see you again." Um,
Yeah, because then I don't have to do the embarrassing stare where I try and remember because I remember 50 things about that person, but I don't remember their name. And everybody thinks I'm a butthead for forgetting names. And that this way I can just sneak a glance at their name tag and be like, oh, Bob, my old friend. Looking
yeah.
forward to that.
Um, Swoop Plan B asks regarding shirts, pick up at Galactics, please. I don't know if that's something we're going to be able to do. That we'll have to have conversations about logistics. But regarding pickup at Galactics,
That's man, that will be more difficult than I want it to be. Maybe. Um, the challenge is that almost certainly we're going to have the shirts printed in Portland, so that way I can do the fulfillment. And as we talked about before, I'm not going. You know what? Maybe I can't. I don't have enough bandwidth to actually see the chat right now. But let's just throw the if it was a you must pick up on Sunday of Galactics with Tim, I think that would be acceptable for people.
there's we we'll talk about it and we'll see what we can do. No guarantees.
No guarantees.
However,
Yeah, I mean, I haven't committed to going yet, among
yeah,
other things.
in a similar no guarantees space, we weren't delighted with the rate at which we were able to get the Lawless Time Judge League out to folks. However, we anticipate that instead of having product shipped to Tim at the beginning of the set, we're just going to ship it straight to Galactics, and we intend on doing our first wave of Judge League fulfillment at Galactics so that you can start off the set with the League. And then we'll hand with anything we have left over, we'll move on to online fulfillment. That isn't 100% locked in yet, but that is our goal. And so there's a very high likelihood that I'll just spend like Thursday sitting in my hotel room having people come by and just handed them booster packs and saying, all right, good luck, have fun, I'll play you later.
Wow, the hotel is absolutely going to think you're a drug dealer.
Yeah, certainly. But it's Vegas, so
Yeah, I guess they don't care. Yeah, maybe the lobby. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah.
we will figure it out.
We've also started to talk about the Judge meetup in Vegas, given that the one last year was about 200 people. It's very likely that we're looking towards a Friday evening broadcast after the close of Swiss, probably right about when the hall is closing. So if you're not going to be able to make it into Galactics Thursday, you'll probably still be able to make the meetup.
And actually, Joan, I didn't talk to you about this, but if before I probably should have. But if I'm going to make it to Galactics, I'm going to try and find a spot where I can bring some number of bottles of whiskey and share whiskey with people as they pick up shirts and play League and whatever. I have no idea where that's going to be, but I think Sunday night, uh, whiskey whiskey and stuff with Tim would be a ton of fun. So we'll see what happens, but that I think that would be fun for me at least.
Certainly.
Plus, you'll all be able to stomp me at League because that will be fun for everybody else.
Oh boy, will it be fun. So that's information about Galactics, that's information about shirts, that's information about Ash's Judge League. We said at the start we didn't have a lot to talk about. Turns out we have a lot of things that people have been waiting months and or years for.
Yeah.
And we have more.
Okay.
We have more. I think
well,
the thing that
we
is
also don't have everything
soonest.
we want, right?
Yeah.
So what we don't have yet is promo cards for this set. So coming soon, we hope, but we don't have. But I wouldn't say it's like that much time. I'd say it's like something like that much time.
There's a chance that they're overlapping with our shirts and our name badges or something along those, but we don't know. We'll figure out something. But there's some promos that you all have been waiting for, which rhymes with pilot.
Oh my gosh, it's been so long, but we now have a printing option that should be just fine for our larger playmats. And Jonah, you deserve to make the announcement. So,
yep. So we figured out the last of the logistical hurdles for distributing the ambassador kits, including the Luke Invader pilot in the US, and we are optimistic about resolving them in Europe. And so I don't know the exact timeline on that, but in the hand gestures, it is very, very close for us getting things going.
at least in at least in the U.S.
At least
right?
in the U.S.
It's going to be it'll be a little bit longer for Europe, but things look like they're coming fairly soon.
Speaking of Europe, we still believe that Fanfinity will be able to get their products in hand in time to do distribution at regionals in Prague and then online distribution for the remainder of the set's lifespan. However, we have a small quantity available certainly in London this weekend for sectors, and anything that's left over will probably just roll into what's available at Prague.
Wow, I totally forgot about that one when we were talking about the things to talk about. And what do I do if I'm at London and I want to join the Judge League?
Uh, we're going to have a link for you later this week, ideally tomorrow, and certainly no later than Thursday. That'll point you to the Cascade Games Shopify page. You'll send us some money, and then you'll meet our good friend Khan, one of our European delegates, at the event, and he'll hand you your packs and promo.
Doesn't it feel nice to have somebody on site in Europe?
It's very nice. This is notably not something we're going to be able to guarantee for every series of events. We were able to do it because Con was where Tim and I were this weekend, and so we could just hand the boxes over and not have to pay international shipping costs.
And honestly, as much as the cost, I'm much more frustrated, frankly, with the time delays. And I mean, I tried a couple weeks ago. We tried to send some promos to Europe, and they got sent back for whatever reason. So, and international shipping just sucks. It just does.
I think like a week and a half ago or so, we sent Con some promos to make sure we had some promos available for distribution for a variety of purposes. And they arrived after Con returned from the event with the stuff we just handed to Con.
Which means I could have just handed them to him. But, whatever.
We didn't come up with our brilliant plan until a little bit later in the day. So,
wouldn't it be nice if we could be consistently brilliant early rather than, because I do my best work months too late, right? How you have a awkward conversation and you keep mulling over it and you think about like the perfect thing to say, only it's 2 weeks after the conversation is over. Yeah, I do that. I'm the king of that one.
Oh, I don't think I do that. I just don't think about conversations after they're over.
Really?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But
I certainly do.
If anybody has any questions, please feel to drop them in. But otherwise, as a review of what we've talked about, shirts sooner.
Name badges.
Badges sooner. Ash Judge League.
Sooner, but not as fast as shirts.
Ash Judge League, we're pretty confident about having it available at Galactics. We talked about Set 7 promos, and we expect to have those at some point relatively soon, and I cannot wait to show you what we have, because there are some very exciting cards in there.
When do we get to spoil those cards?
I think as soon as we know how we're going to be getting them to people.
Okay. So easily could be by the next chat with the judges.
That would be fantastic.
People, I think.
We also have, I think, soonest on our list is Judge League in Europe is going to have a little bit more availability, as well as Ambassador Kit in the US going out very soon, and being available very soon, and then working on solutions in Europe. Do we want to talk about your shipping experiment?
No, okay. We want to get the results back before we jinx our dumb selves, because I am superstitious as hell about this stuff. Like the shipping gods are not my friends. So let's just say we're working on it. We are working on a number of possible solutions to make things better. And let's just leave it there so that I do not jinx my dumb self.
Reasonable. Alrighty, some questions. Gentle Giant 303 says, when do we get judge notebooks? Probably after name tags, but that sort of stuff, once we are in the area of producing judge program specific merch, notebooks, pens, Sharpies, having like little match slip notebooks that have time extensions or tardiness slips that have judge program information on them. that's something we can consider. But those are lower priority to us than shirts and name tags because those are the big, cool, exciting things. The less exciting things are on the list, but we'll probably want to bundle them together, and we haven't looked into manufacturing options for them. And I think Tim is hearing some of these ideas for the first time as I am speaking.
Well, I mean, I'm familiar with the ideas. I just have not wanted to overpromise. Actually, I haven't even wanted to get my own hopes up on this. So, because I'm definitely a little bit on the frustrated side around this, but we should be able to make cool things sooner rather than later, I think.
Yes. Ash promos, those are going to come after the Law promos. I don't have a timeline on that, but I am excited to share what we have with those when we're able to share those. Mr. Donovan asking about the Law promos. Now that the meta is developed, do we at least know if they are commonly played cards? Yes, we do know. I'm not going to give you the answer to that question, though.
Oh, come on. Okay. At least let's just tell him for one, Mr. Donovan is always online with us, always ask good questions. You should give at least one. I mean, I would spoil one card if it was just me, but I know
Do you want to name the card?
you don't want to. Well, actually, what I want them to do is make them guess the card, but um, at least one of the cards we can say is commonly played and sought after. Is that fair?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean I know it. I probably should have cleared this with you first, but yes, I think that the cards are just fine, and you can know at least one of them is sought after and shows up in a lot of decks.
It Yes, and I don't know if we're talking about the same card because we're talking in circles. But one of the cards I saw when I read the card, I was like, "Oh, that's a fun one for us judges."
Did you get to see the art yet? Because I
I
haven't, but
haven't.
I've
I
been on the road.
haven't yet.
I'm dying, and this probably doesn't help other people to hear my frustrations, but we have known what these cards are for a significant period of time, but we haven't seen the art on them. And I've been told the art's really good, but I'm an art snob. I really am. I have just because somebody else likes the art doesn't mean I'm going to. And I really, really want to see it.
Let's see. One more
Does it
question.
start with an L? Does it start with an L?
They're
One of the
talking
people
about a
in chat
very
was.
specific card.
And the card I'm thinking of does not start with an L. Now, I don't know which one you're thinking of.
But a question from DeCaniel. I guess you'll get a question about an update to share for the last couple of positions hiring process in the team. So the subject matter expert and the video producer. Tim, you want to handle that question?
No, I just want to dodge that. I was really hoping I could sneak through this conversation without that. So we've got our European delegate person, whatever title you want, ambassador. We got the European people up and running. I'm very satisfied with that. I think we've got really good choices. The next step is the next one is subject matter expert, and I need to do a bunch of screening interviews, and my schedule has kind of collapsed in on me. I don't need to get into all the reasons why, but let's just say I just haven't had time to do it. I'm hoping to get it done very soon. Um, I, I, I I am now officially the bottleneck on this. It was very recent. And video producer is, let's just say, subject matter. Are you still there?
Yeah. We
I'm
lost
on
you
the
for a
side of the
second,
road
but we
using
got
my
the gist of
phone.
it.
But okay, and so that's for subject matter expert. The video producer is a significant time out. I think I think what's going to happen is we'll get the subject matter expert up and running relatively soon. And then what's going to happen, I believe, is the summer convention season is going to hit, and it's going to make me unable to really focus on adding someone for a little bit. So um, maybe I'm wrong, but that's we're we are too small a team to get everything done that we need to get done, and clearly adding people to the team would be helpful, but it also takes a bandwidth to add people to the team and blah blah blah. You guys get what I'm trying to say.
Especially given that we want to give all of our applicants due justice and time. We don't want to just say, haven't heard of you, you don't get to talk to us, or your resume isn't good enough. We do want to talk to everybody because we know that there are people who have skills that aren't necessarily represented on their judge resume.
And I mean, Jonah, you and I haven't really talked about this, but I'm really skeptical about the power of resumes to really predict who's going to do a good job in a new job
Yes.
anyway. I so my hope is that I'm going to be able to do screening interviews with everybody. And yeah, and I just need a block of time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I haven't seen any other questions other than people naming cards that they want to have as promos and hoping we'll tell them yes or no, but I don't think we're going to tell them yes or no.
Can we just say no?
I mean, we can
Can't
say
say no
no.
to everything. We can't say no to everything. Okay, fine. Um, I think people are going to really like it. I really do.
Yeah, I know some people will be very excited by various cards we have. Is this my favorite set?
Yeah.
This might be my favorite set of promos.
That's funny because I was thinking the same thing. I
Like,
I really do think this might be my favorite.
Legends of the Force is up there. This might be my favorite. Hard to say. Hard to say.
Anyway, we'll get feedback. Hopefully, when we talk with folks next, we will be. Hey, should we talk briefly since referenced we've referenced galactics and hiring and all of that. I just want to throw out a reminder when you're applying for those events. But I know you're not going to, you got folks aren't going to do that. You're going to apply to help me at Comic Con instead. But if you were going to apply for those events, remember what the TO's motivation is always customer service. As a TO, you want a competent judge for sure. That's why you don't just go get a random person who works at the Cold Stone Ice Creamery or whatever, right? You need to have competence with a game. But what I need to hear, and what you should do every chance you get, is I need to hear stories about how you've done a great job with customer service. Because obviously you can do damage to an event by giving a poor ruling, but it's so important to have people who want to connect with, join with, befriend if they can. We need people who are good hosts, who are gracious, who can make the event fun, particularly fun for new players. So that's my tip for you as you're thinking about applying. Remember that remember that what really counts is customer service.
Yes. Alrighty. I'm going to take these last couple of questions. I have a question from DeCaniel. I was wondering if there's anything you could share about rules clarifications, feeling some confusion, frustration, waiting for a few non-critical clarifications. And McFerguson adds, non-critical, sir, you wound me. That should be sooner rather than later. I have a meeting on the books with Ryan this month to go over various clarifications and to talk about future rules updates. However, I know that there is some frustration in that with policy updates, when there's a question, I answer it and we go forward with that until we get something official from FFG. And I don't do that for rules. The reason I don't do that for rules is because I haven't had multiple meetings with the rules team about their philosophy and goals for the rules, whereas I've had a lot of conversations with the organized play team about the philosophy behind the policy. And so with rules clarifications, and I know that Mick Ferguson and a few others can back me up on this, we've had disagreements on what we think the outcome for the rules clarification should be, and I've been incorrect in my assumptions. And so while I think I would hit above average on those clarifications, it would result in a lot of rules where we'd post a clarification and then a few months later say, that rule is no longer true and you have to change the way you're ruling it. And changing rules is something that I want to avoid. I want to avoid having an official source be wrong effectively. Whereas with policy, we have a much, much higher record of what I say is also in line with what policy is and ends up being. And then Swoop Plan B asks guests a timeline so we can keep money available for any of these various kits. We don't have I hope that we're able to get at least one of the kits out in May. I think Ambassador in May is reasonable.
I believe that's true, but
we can't make promises.
It's May 5th right now, and approvals take as long as they take. And so if by mid we mean like the 15th, that's 10 days from now, unlikely, but soon.
Yeah, we'll have a date soon. We'll try and give you as much heads up as we can so that you can make appropriate plans.
And I'm super sensitive to the argument that hey, I have a limited budget and why are these things all coming out at the same time? And sometimes that's just the way of the world, right? Because we've waited so long and as soon as I guess we could space them out, but that doesn't seem like the right thing to do because people have been waiting too long. I don't know.
Yeah. DeCaniel asks or adds on to that, having waves of updates or we acknowledge would help a lot. Yep. I have been in the process of setting up more regular meetings with the rules and design team so that we can have a regular cadence. I don't want to say what that cadence is until we've hit those benchmarks a couple of times, because saying, hey, we're going to do this and then not following through is a great way for me to damage the trust that we've developed. But that is something that we're working towards. D. Han asks, is there a rough idea of when lessons for L3 will come out? After the aspect lessons, the last one of which goes live on Thursday, I plan on starting to release the L3 lessons and L3 content. Part of the delay on L3 content is I want to have a subject matter expert on hand, particularly for the rules, so we can discuss exactly what should go into that. Subject matter expert has been delayed, and so not as much content is prepared for L3 as I would like. It's very probable that we're going to start with logistics and policy and get to rules at the tail end, which is the opposite order of what we've done for L3, so that the subject matter expert can weigh in. And then Train Target asks, Jonah, where do you get your sweatshirt? This came from NerdForge. They are content creators, YouTubers, crafters, and they have some really cool merch, clothes. This might be sold out at this point, but I'm a big fan of it. Head can ask, will L3 be needed for Galactic Championships, or is it too early for that? I can't tell you what Fanfinity is going to require, but I can tell you that it is very unlikely that the L3 cert is available before Galactics, so they probably won't require it. I wouldn't be surprised if they required... I would expect a requirement of L1 for the Galactic Championships. I wouldn't expect a requirement for L2, given that a requirement for L2 would mean essentially every single L2 has to apply, and like 2/3 of them get accepted, given the scale Galactics was last year. And so it's possible that it's L2 is required for a leadership role at Galactics, but I don't think L2 will even be required to be on staff for Galactics. I think if you're happy working sides, whether it's on-demand drafts or something like the Galactic Open on Saturday or Sunday, you should be able to do that as an L1 and possibly as an apprentice, but that might be a harder sell. Cool. I don't think I'm seeing any more questions.
Excellent.
Alrighty. Thank you
So
all so
taped
much for
in
joining
under an
us.
hour for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
We'll talk to you later. Have a good one.